Yeah, might have noticed that the stock market has pretty much been all green since election night. The markets clearly had not fully priced in a Trump win. All kinds of stocks hit all-time highs yesterday in a bunch of different sectors: Netflix, Goldman, Salesforce, Hims, Visa, Hilton. And those weren't even Trump trades. The Bitcoin president sent Bitcoin and the whole ecosystem flying: Coinbase, Robinhood, MicroStrategy, all the miners. Of course, all eyes are on Trump's new bestie, Elon Musk, who pretty much gambled everything on a Trump win, and that bet paid out big time. His net worth is up $70 billion. He's obviously the world's richest person, but to put it in perspective, if his post-election gain alone were a person by itself, it would be one of the top richest, in the top 20 of richest people in the world. Tesla up more than 40% in a week and closing in on its all-time high that we saw back in 2021. The Trump trade speculation rampant about fast-tracking autonomy, and just the fact that Tesla, which was repeatedly snubbed by the Biden administration, will now have a direct line to the White House. But if a 40% jump in Tesla stock sounds like it has to be too late to get in, that you missed out, wait until you hear what we've uncovered. This could just be the beginning. In reality, this could be before the beginning of the beginning even begins for Tesla. Today on Dumb Money, our boldest trade in Tesla ever.
This is Dumb Money Live.
Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. We are Dumb Money. Welcome to Dumb Money Live. Everybody, take a second, make markets green again by smashing the like button. Chris, Jordan, I've seen a lot of people on financial Twitter who became millionaires for the first time this past week. I want to congratulate any and all of our viewers who hit that milestone. Good job, everyone. Without even counting a single Trump trade, my everyday stock portfolio was up 20% in a week. My crypto portfolio is up 30%. Chris, you and I talked a little yesterday about Tesla and how much higher it could go, and whether you finally put that massive trade in, which, by the way, you still have not done, right?
Correct. Well, I did accidentally put one in yesterday, as you're aware.
You're the worst. We're going to have to hear about how bad you are at using the Schwab trading app. But you are planning on going big. You figured out exactly how and when you're going to do it. We're going to talk all about that. But you did have that Trump hedge in place with Tesla puts, and then you bought some Tesla calls to play the move. How did it all work out for you in the end?
Yeah, I got a lot of flack for that. People didn't really understand what I was doing or the trade. They thought I was predicting like a Kamala win, which I certainly wasn't, if you recall from our last episode. We had determined that it was roughly a 50-50 shot at either of those candidates winning. We're trying to figure out trades that would result in a better than 2x return, being that they, either side was like 50-50 as far as we could tell. So being that my entire portfolio is long and fully levered, near 100% levered, I decided to buy $75,000 of Tesla puts the day of the election, thinking that in the event that Trump lost, it would result in a probably 3 to 5x return on that investment. So for me, it was a 50-50 shot at 3 to 5x on an investment that was counter to the majority of my portfolio. So it was essentially a hedge trade on my portfolio. That got wiped out.
And then when the market opened the next day, you basically rolled out of those and flipped into calls, right?
I didn't roll out of them. I sold
them. Not rolled, you sold them.
For like $200, right? So like I lost $74,800. Now that said, that loss was about 5% of what I gained that day. So it was one of the best trading days of the year for me. The next day was like one of the second best trading days of the year. So it's been an insane few days, guys. Yeah, this has to be the best 4 or 5 day period of the year for my portfolio, outside a couple of those outsized social arb trades that we made earlier this year and this summer.
I guess for the market, this has been moves that we haven't seen since lockdown and Wall Street bets days, right?
Yeah. This is nuts. I love it, man. I love it so much. You know why I love it? Because just the freaking energy of retail traders right now is on fire. And unlike last time around, which is the pandemic, there at least is some level of rationality around the stocks that people are trading, right? At least there's some real thesis here that is durable. Now we can agree or disagree on the extent to which some of these names are overstretched, overhyped, but Palantir, what a trade. I mean, Palantir would trade Tesla. So here's what I did on Tesla. For this
Yeah,
is
I
not
want to hear
big trade.
because
I'm going to talk about the big one because I finally have a firm strategy, a timing strategy that I want to reveal because people have been asking me for 9 months. I have alpha on Tesla I want to share with the world today. Really important alpha information that I think very few people in the world have on Tesla right now that I'm going to share with everyone right now in this episode. But before I do, I did go long Tesla the morning of the election. I went long with equity and I went long with call options. So I put on a fairly aggressive Tesla trade, nowhere nearly as aggressive as the one I'm prepared to put on shortly.
But this was not election day. This was election results day, right?
Election results
Wednesday.
day. And that trade has been just absolutely insane. I feel like I don't know, 4x that trade, 5x that trade, and it was a big one. So I still have some Tesla calls left over from that trade. But man, what a 4-day period. So let's just get right to the meat of it. Here is the Tesla trade, and here's the alpha I have. As you know, my entire life has been humanoid robots the past 18 months. It's all I think about. It's all I talk about. It's probably consumed maybe 50% of all the research I've done over the past year has been in the humanoid space. I'm deeply engaged with two of the top humanoid companies privately in the world, being Figure AI and Aptronic, two companies that I think will be two of the biggest winners in this space, along with Tesla. And I've been preparing to make the biggest trade of my lifetime in the public equity markets in Tesla for quite some time now. So when do I make the trade, and what did I find out recently? I've recently come to learn that Tesla Optimus bots are doing useful work on the Tesla manufacturing line right now.
Like actually, you've seen this.
Not me personally.
They're actually working in production, not just like some test ground.
I have received information from multiple sources that Tesla has their bots on the production line doing work autonomously.
And what kind of work? Like, is this moving things? Is this precision work? What are we talking?
I do not know. All I know is that it's supposedly impressive. That's it. That's what I've heard, and that is the news that I have been waiting to hear. I have also seen, with my own eyes, bots outside of Tesla, up close, doing very similar things that I cannot speak about.
Yeah.
But
bots that you have a closer relationship with than Optimus.
I have seen humanoid robots in the past month doing things that I thought was still a year away. So I won't say whose bots they were or what exactly I saw because I'm not permitted to do so. But I was curious at the time if Tesla was at that same stage. And I recently learned through multiple sources that they are. So that is a really, really big deal. I don't think people understand how big of a deal that is. And what that tells me is that the Chat GPT moment for embodied AI, in this case humanoids, is months away, not years away. It could be a month away. It could be 6 months away. I think at the most, it's probably 9 months away. I think the Chat GPT moment for embodied AI will come through one or more video demonstrations that will be released by either Tesla, Figure AI, or Apptronic in Austin. I don't know which company will release video footage first that will turn the world upside down.
But it's kind of a
It,
race between all three of those humanoids, and
I
they
don't.
all are
It,
gaining capabilities at a very rapid pace, and the only one that is available in the public stock market is Tesla.
what we need to see are bots working in unison with each other, doing productive work repetitively and autonomously. That's what we need to see. I think once we see that, we are going to see the biggest pull forward in revenue projections that we've ever seen in our lifetime from capital markets and Wall Street. I think there's only one publicly traded beneficiary, and it's Tesla. So it really doesn't matter who puts this information out first. Tesla is really the only way for any retail trader to trade this. So here's my strategy. I am going to keep a close eye on every hint of a possible event or news release or video coming out of Tesla and obviously those other two companies. And I'm going to get mentally prepared to place what would be, I don't know, the biggest trade of my life. We're talking about a massive amount of out of the money options that are probably going to be weekly or monthly calls, days, I would say probably weeks out from whenever this event is, because you need to allow for some amount of time for the market to absorb the information they're watching and to you know, basically you know, interpret that into a trade. But I do think it's all about having a prepared mind. And we talked about this so much, guys, over the past few years. It's all about having a prepared mind. You have to be ready for it. You have to know exactly what type of trade size you're prepared to put on, so that you're mentally prepared to put, whether it's, you know, everyone's different, right? For me,
Yeah.
is it
But for
10,000?
you, like
Is it
you've already said that
100,000? Is it
you're
a million? Is it 5 million? Like, what is the amount of money that you're willing to lose to potentially make let me just say this right now. We are not financial advisors. I say this all the time. This is my trade. This is for me, not for you guys. This is not me telling the world, go do this trade. I know everybody wants to know how I'm thinking about this trade, and I'm telling you because everyone keeps asking. So this is my trade for me. This is my money that I'm putting at risk, and I have an extreme level of risk tolerance that probably is very different from anyone watching the show.
But talk to me about your, okay, so your portfolio, you've already said, is like 100% margined. How are you going to find new money to put into Tesla? What are
Well,
you selling?
I'll sell everything, a little bit of everything. I don't care. I mean, you know, I don't care. I'll
But you're just
sell
gonna
whatever I
like
need.
shave off of everything and
Yeah,
then go hard
yeah.
into Tesla.
And because of this, I need to make sure that my account isn't 100% margin, right? I'll just make sure my account is like, you know, 90%, 80%. Because this is a levered options bet, right? So it's not like I'm putting 50% of my portfolio in a levered options bet that will zero out in a matter of days if the market doesn't react appropriately. There's still plenty of risk here. There's still market risk, right? Like the market could crash the day after I put on this trade. Elon could come out and say something ridiculously stupid, or something could happen that is well outside of our ability to predict. So there's risk in every trade, and certainly there's risk in this one since it will be an out of the money options call options trade. But I've been thinking about this trade for over a year. It's now getting very close. It could be weeks to months away. And I know what I'm looking for to place a trade. I'm looking for an event. I'm looking for a video. Now that I know that the bots are doing something that is probably very close to what we need to see to have our chat GPT moment and embodied AI. Now it's just a question of at what point do one of these CEOs want to time the release of that
So
footage, right?
okay, so question from the audience. Mike wants to know why not go long now? Why wait? Is it because the stock's too volatile in the meantime? You just want to benefit from the information asymmetry once you
No,
know they're about to reveal. I mean, you know that they're
obvious
going
reason.
to do this. Why are you waiting until you see the video if you know that they're capable of producing the video today?
Didn't I just answered that question, because you're taking on all types of other risk factors. You're taking on the risk of the entire market. You're taking on the risk of Elon. You're taking on the risk of some other piece of their business uh, having some negative moment, whether it's, you know, an insurance report out of China that comes out every week, or a report of Tesla selling less cars in the US, or something related to autonomy. I you do yeah. I mean, I want to trade one thing, guys. I am trading the capital markets finally waking up to the fact that the humanoid sector is potentially half of global GDP. And this sector has potential to bring Tesla's Optimus division to a $10 trillion division over the next 6 years, right? That's what I'm trading. And the market is not going to wake up to that until they see that Tesla is actually making robots that can do the work of humans at human speed. When the world sees this, they're going to turn upside down, right? Like this is the moment. This is the ChatGPT moment. Do you remember when you actually used ChatGPT for the first time? What that
Oh,
was like?
absolutely. Yeah,
The world
and
will have
that
that
was
moment.
like a revolutionary thing. Everybody was very excited about it. Everybody was talking about it. Within, I would say, a couple of weeks, it went from nobody having heard of the ability to do anything like ChatGPT to people just using it to like write emails and ask questions and replace Google.
I'm going to repeat myself. I have seen robots doing magical things in the past month. And I have heard that people have seen robots at Tesla doing very similar magical things on
Yeah,
the
but and that's
production
the thing.
line.
We've kind of already seen videos of magical things, but not at scale and not in a practical real world. We've seen them sorting things, we've seen them,
I
walking around, but we haven't seen them
know,
actually doing something that is useful to humans.
yeah, I don't think anyone's seen what I've seen, and I don't think anyone's seen what I heard is happening at Tesla, even in any video anywhere. So autonomously. So again, if the information I'm getting is correct, it's just a matter of time before it becomes public. I at Listen, if Tesla was where it was a week ago, a week and a half ago, it would be safer to put on a very large bet now, just in the anticipation that this information would reveal itself over the coming months.
So let's say this video comes out, and just kind of to size the opportunity here, this is we're not talking about robots in the home. Even Elon's most aggressive prediction for that is like a decade. But we're talking about revolutionary kind of manufacturing, logistics, that sort of thing. What is you've gone into this before, but talk about the market size for this initial phase if we see a robot doing something useful.
Yeah, so I put out a 15 tweet thread on it's pinned up to my Twitter account at Chris Camillo that goes over the economics. That was back in January, and I still stand by those economics, which is Tesla by 2030 with 1.5 million bots out in the world, commercial bots being leased at roughly 100K a year. Once you add in the cost metrics of those bots, um, you extract net revenue from those bots, apply an ADPE, which I think is highly conservative for the Optimus division when you consider that the TAM for that market is 50% of global GDP. Some people say the TAM for that market is actually over 100% of GDP because the concept of infinite labor will expand global GDP so much that current global GDP is actually less than the size of physical robot labor 10 to 20 years from now. So keep that in mind. So that said, if you apply that 80 PE, it brings you to roughly a $10 trillion valuation by the end of 2030 for just Tesla's Optimus division. Now, I did see a tweet this morning. I haven't validated that's real, but it comes from an account that seems fairly reliable. And it was that Morgan Stanley put out some information on the humanoid market and what that would mean for Tesla's Optimus division. And I think it's ridiculously conservative, but they are saying, according to this analysis that Morgan Stanley supposedly did, it says the implied NPV, the per share value of the Optimus division of Tesla would be $485 a share. So they're equating for $485 a share at Tesla just for Optimus. That's 2040. That seems like an insanely conservative number to me. By 2040, I'm looking at well over $4,000 to $6,000 a share for Tesla just based on Optimus. I know that sounds
and that's
ridiculous.
right.
You know, I'm not one to throw out numbers like that. Have I ever thrown out numbers like that in the 20 years that you've known me? Ever?
No,
ever?
No, never. But
I am not.
I think
like
that it's all about that pull forward, because initially there will be, manufacturing constraints. Even though Tesla is probably the best at optimizing manufacturing, that's going to be kind of the funnel that this has to go through. Because there's going to be unlimited demand, and it comes down to how many can Tesla, how many can the competitors crank out.
I was on a phone call yesterday with someone I have a lot of respect for in this space, and I threw out the fact that I thought we would have at minimum a 10-year supply demand glut, where the demand would far exceed the supply for commercial humanoid bots for at least 10 years. And this person thought I was insane and thought the supply demand glut would last for many, many, many decades. So he's like, I don't see it going away in our lifetime. And the thesis around that is interesting, because when you start to think about infinite physical human labor through bots, the expansion of enterprise would be so large and so vast in terms of what we can build, what we can do, the industries that would be born that would never exist otherwise, because of the concept of infinite physical bot labor, would essentially create a demand funnel that is larger than we could imagine. It essentially is an infinite demand for physical bots. Now, I know that's hard to wrap your head around. What did Elon say recently? How many bots he thought would be in existence by 2000 humanoids by 2040?
By 2040, I'm not sure, but he's predicting that bots will outnumber humans, and there could be
he put out Dave. He just put out 10 billion humanoid robots by 2040 is what he's saying. 10 billion by 2040. It's one of the only ridiculous statements he's made that I think has some validity to it. Now, will we get 10 billion? Probably not. Could we have a billion? I think so. Could it be 10 billion in time? Yeah, it could be. I don't buy anything that Elon says. I am highly skeptical on everything that comes out of his mouth. This is the only area where I see eye to eye with Elon. And I think that's still an aggressive number. 10 billion by 2040 feels very aggressive to me. Could we get to a billion? I think it's definitely possible. And if you do the math on a billion bots, it's insane. It's actually
that would be across all bot brands, right? The billion is bots existing in the world.
Yep, of course. But here's the thing, guys. When you start running the numbers on this, Wall Street wasn't even acknowledging that the sector existed 10 months ago. Now, we have that one report by Goldman, but that report came out of Goldman China, and it was a fairly intensive humanoid white paper that they constructed around supply chain of the humanoid sector, but it was all China. Right? It was the Goldman China, like U.S. based sell side analyst and buy side funds. Because I talk to these people all the time, they still think this is like a fantasy. They think it's Star Trek. They have their heads so far up their ass right now that they're about to wake up to this. Like they're about to get to. We're about to get to like this Morgan Stanley report, for example, assuming it's real. This is the first of hundreds that we're going to see over the next, I would say, 18 months. And if you have, can I just say something? If you haven't seen these bots doing the type of work that I've seen them do up close and personal from feet away, you just don't believe it. I don't care. I almost don't care how many videos you watch bots doing things because it just seems orchestrated. You just think they're being teleoperated, right?
Yeah.
But when you see them up close and you look around, you're like, wait, there has to be someone teleoperating this thing. And the second you realize that there isn't, it is just this magical moment. Like, how the hell are they doing what I'm seeing them do? So it again, you could believe me or not believe me. I saw it with my own eyes. I've had numerous sources now that I've heard from that are saying that they've seen it with their own eyes, or people that know people that have seen it with their own eyes at Tesla. And man, the world is about to wake up to this. I don't. I'm curious if he does this through a live event or a taped video. If it's Elon, and
Well, he likes live events. They've released many taped things of the robots doing things in the past. That's the safe route, but
you
they
know what the
had
dream setup would be, Dave? You know what the dream setup? The dream setup is if Tesla announces a live robot event. Forget about the stupid car stuff that they did a month ago. If they were to announce a live event to demonstrate Optimus, I will. That would be the dream. That would be the dream. An actual event that you could structure those options around, right? Like you have a date in the future. We know what's going to happen. Other people will kind of like maybe be skeptical, right?
But do you think that what you see in that event is going to be enough? Do you think that, like, if it was
Yes.
a live event, they're going to have some parameters around,
Yes.
where it is and where
No.
viewers are and how it works?
No. No. You'll see it. If they have a live event, I think they are far enough from what I've heard that they will be able to, like, they'll be able to melt your mind with what you're going to see. And I think we're months away now. We're months away. I'm confident that we are months away. So we have to get prepared for this trade. Prior to the trade happening, I have to ensure my account on the upside with Tesla. And that's what I'm doing now with these Tesla call options and the Tesla position I have now. It's not as big as I want it to be.
And we've
But
had a someone ask, what did you do with those calls that you ended up with? Are you still in them? Did you? So and this is
yeah, yeah. You're talking about okay, so we didn't talk about what happened last night.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the tweet that you put out. Rough night for me, and you show. I don't know which screen it's on.
So I had 100 call options on Tesla that I exited. I thought I exited yesterday, and I simply wanted to trade up the strike price on those options. I wanted to trade them up for a cheaper strike price that was closer to where Tesla was now trading. So I want to take some money off the table. It was a massive gain. I want to take some money off the table and de-risk myself. That's what I wanted to do yesterday. I was so busy. I was in so many meetings, as you guys are aware of the stuff I'm dealing with right now, that I somehow fat fingered the trade. And instead of de-risking myself, I increased my risk nearly 4x. I bought, I ended up, and I didn't realize this till late last night. I was just casually looking at my portfolio and I thought I was seeing things.
I got that tweet, but probably before you tweeted it as a text from you. And I was like, I woke up at 4 a.m. and saw that Tesla was down big. And I was so worried for you. You could have lost $1 million overnight.
I could have lost $1.5 million this morning easily. And I was concerned. Well, first of all, I was kind of excited late night because late night Tesla was actually up in the overnight hours, $10. I was like, oh, I might end up making $250,000 in this mistake. Yeah. I wake up
until this drop.
Yeah, I wake up this morning and I'm like, oh no, here we go. I think I woke up like an hour and a half before the market opened, and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I told myself, just don't look at the phone, just go back to sleep. You can't do anything about it till the market opens. The option market is not going to be liquid in the first 5 minutes of market opened, and you can't do anything about that. So just go to bed until like 10 minutes after the market opens, and then it is what it is. I was mentally prepared to take a $500,000 hit, is what I thought was going to happen. Because Tesla was on one of the biggest runs it's ever been on over a short period of time. There's probably some degree of short squeeze that happened over the past few days, and it needed a breather, right? And I was like, this was the morning for the breather. I was like, out of all the mornings, the morning that I fat fingered a call option mistake. So I was prepared to take the hit. And when I saw that it was only down, I think at the point I sold, it was only down like $7. I was like, thank God. I was like, I got that trade in so bad, so quickly. I think it cost me about 150. And so, but I was
I don't know how you haven't switched your primary trading account to Robinhood yet. I finally did it. And I'm so happy because I open Robinhood anyway just to check on stock prices. It's so cool to be able to actually see my portfolio in there. They're giving you 2% of the entire amount you transfer in. You missed it though. You'll have to wait for their next promo.
Yeah, I can't speak about it, but I worked a deal and I figured it out, and I worked a deal. I'm staying with Schwab for now. So.
Even if it costs you $1 million because you don't know how to use their options trading platform?
You know what the problem is, Dave? I'm losing my vision, and I can't. You see my text to you guys. Like, how often do I send a text that is even readable these days?
The autocorrect does not work for you. Your spelling is horrendous, and usually it's nonsense words.
Yeah, and
you need to bump up the font on your phone to that old person font where it's like, like only 4 words fit on the screen at a time.
Can I do that with the stock trading apps though? Can I do it with Schwab?
Yes, you can do it with anything.
Or you can switch to
it may not be useful because
carry around an iPad with you everywhere you go. That could be
yes. At least an iPad mini. Those are like the perfect size because you can carry it around. Eyesight will handle it.
I had a meeting with the guy yesterday, and I was talking about this. And he told me that ready for this? He told me, because he was like, what reading glasses do you have? I was like, just a 1.0. I'm a newbie, like just 1.0. That's all I need. He goes, go down to 0.75. Then go down to he goes, you could retrain your eyes to see again. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, I did it. My wife's doing it right now. I was like, are you serious? I got to research this to see if this is junk science or real. He claims that kind of like when you have a peanut allergy or some allergy, you just slowly train your body to get used to it. He claims that if you slowly go like lower and lower on your reading glasses, that you could retrain your eyes how to see again.
The problem is that your lens loses plasticity over time. So like
that's why old people have worse vision.
Right.
But Jordan, do you think there's science that actually makes sense?
Well, you can compensate, right? So your your eyes and your brain can compensate for so long, but it turns out that you're just stressing yourself out and straining by doing that.
That's what I was worried about. And by the way,
I've solved my vision. and you should do the same, because you have a hard time seeing up close. But if you wear contacts or glasses that are correcting for up close, you can't see far, right? Because there's a big enough difference. My ophthalmologist corrected one eye to be able to read close, the other eye to be able to see far, and it has changed everything, because now I can read my phone at a normal distance, and I'm not like doing this. This is like old man talk on.
Oh yeah, the
YouTube.
older I get, the more I'm like.
But if you correct one eye to be able to read close and then the other to be able to see perfectly far, your brain somehow like figures it out and realizes, okay, yeah, you're blurry to me when I look like this, and you're clear like this. But your brain like meshes them together, and you can totally see everything.
I'll hire a robot to see for me, and then we'll be good to go.
So two things. One, I could read the comments now because I just put my glasses on.
Those are the, you do not buy your readers at CVS like normal, do you? Those are like high style grandpa glasses. Where'd you find
combo
those?
blue blocker also? Is that what's going on?
I think so. Look at the purple reflection in the lens. I'm pretty sure those are blue blockers.
So here's the thing, guys. Someone just said something in the comments, and it made me think of something. So I've been complaining so much to Schwab about their app. Like I have people on the inside that I get to complain to, that they said they added me to a panel to help them with their UI. I swear to you, they said this. So here's what I'm planning on telling them, and tell me if you think I have any chance of making this happen. I am going to tell them that what they need to do, not that this was the best app either.
Just go back to TD, right?
They need to revive the TD app just for those of us that want it, and they should have a switch. If you want to have the old TD app in Schwab colors with Schwab branding, if they do that, do you not think that would be the ultimate move for Schwab right now?
Oh, absolutely. It's like why did they just kill off their app completely instead of having some sort of a transition where you could choose which one you like? And then they would probably realize that nobody likes the Schwab app, and they would
I have to literally have to restart the Schwab app like 10 times a day because it just stops functioning. It'll just stop functioning in the middle of a trade.
Even when I had my entire portfolio on Schwab, I still never opened the app. I couldn't do it.
It's bad.
So here's the deal. Like they do that with Thinkorswim. That still exists. So why can't the TD Ameritrade old app still exist? So because Schwab is a little startup that doesn't have the budget to run 3 different software teams. Schwab just doesn't make enough money. I think it's a pride thing. I think it's a pride thing.
I think you're right.
The team there does not want to admit that they have a bad app UI.
They should have just rebranded the TD app as Schwab and gotten rid of the crappy Schwab app.
They would never do that, Jordan. All they need to do is have dual apps, because some people, some boomers,
some people might like
the Schwab thing.
Some people like having to like literally restart your app like in the middle of a trade, because
I mean, some people know where the buttons are, and you know, if they have bad vision, they at least know where the buttons are just from memory because they've used it for so long. But I'm with you, Chris. They should give a toggle button that lets you go back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Robinhood has a new version of their app that they're testing with small groups right now, and I'm afraid when they switch over, according to their help file, you won't be able to switch back. So I'm hoping that they perfect it before they release it.
So I put on, as you know, a fairly aggressive long trade in Robinhood. I don't know, a few weeks ago, month ago, whatever it was, probably a month ago. And I now think I obviously didn't go in heavy enough. I mean, guys, did you see, go to the App Store. Did you see
they're number one? They're the number one finance app in the App Store as of yesterday.
But that's not even what's impressive, Dave. It's not the finance within finance app. Just look at just apps generally.
Yeah, they cracked into like the top 20 or 30 or something yesterday.
By the way, TD Ameritrade senior guy there is texting me right now. I thought he was watching the episode, commenting, but he texted me about something else. Okay, just go. Okay, if you go to the App Store and you go to just top free apps, okay, this is wild. Robinhood yesterday, I thought was in the top 20. Now, maybe it's not anymore.
I think it was definitely in the top 40. I was
Oh, it's
watching
top
Amit's
13.
live
Yeah,
stream.
it's 13. Dude, that is a big freaking deal for Robinhood. They are 13. We hadn't seen that
Of
since
all
the
apps?
pandemic. All apps. All
Are
three
you
apps.
kidding
They're
me?
number 13.
That's insane.
No, it's a big
You
freaking
are
deal.
definitely not heavy enough in Robinhood, but look at the chart. This is the 1-year chart, up 290% just this week, up 30%.
And so here's the other thing. Okay, we're not going to talk about this too much because I think we might do an episode on Thursday dedicated to this, Bitcoin. But so I told you about my Bitcoin futures. Everyone's doing Bitcoin futures.
Everyone, I still haven't figured out how to do Bitcoin futures.
Okay.
I've got to practice this before we do a show on it.
But it's not about Bitcoin. It is, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. If you look at the economics of how much money Coinbase is making from futures on Bitcoin, that is something I want to spend some time on between now and if we do this show on Thursday, Thursday's show, because that I think is something that people are completely missing out on. Now, Coinbase is on a huge run, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at it over the past week. But I don't think even within that run, people are understanding how much money they might be making off of this new futures product. Because anytime you have a product like that, that is a derivative type of product where you're not going to get commoditized on commissions, that is meaty for Coinbase, right? So that could get really interesting. Coinbase is back on my radar just because of that futures product. And wow, unlike Robinhood has never been in a better place right now. And especially if you think about the next 2 years of trading, Dave, under this new kind of risk on administration that we have, these are the things you want to think about.
By the way, I'm really enjoying
Tesla.
Can we talk about Robinhood a little bit more? Because I'm really enjoying the Robinhood Legend platform so much that I've started using it as the charts on the screen here. Although I really need to talk to someone in charge of development there, because for a stream, and I know that they want streamers to use this because they love people like screenshotting the app, and they need to put in bigger letters, or at least the option to toggle on and off. This is a hood chart. They need to have Robinhood in big letters at the top so that a streamer can, like, you know what you're looking at, because it's just too hard to see. There's a few other things that I have for them too. So if anyone knows someone into product development at Robinhood that can connect me, find me at Dave Hansen on X, and hopefully we can get that fixed.
Are they paying you, Dave?
No, they're not. Not at all. They paid me when I moved my portfolio over to them, but they offered that to anyone. Okay, back to Tesla. We need Tesla.
All right, before we get back, now that we're back on Tesla and just humanoid,
we're all over the map on this channel.
Okay, I do want to say this. I did a podcast with a humanoid podcaster, and I don't know how to say his name, but you probably do, Dave. Farzad, is that correct? Farzad. And
oh yeah, I did watch your podcast the other day.
You know, people really enjoyed it. I retweeted it yesterday, but if you just go to YouTube and look for Farzad Chris Camillo, it will come up. It's an hour and 20-minute podcast where I go really deep on my feelings on the humanoid sector right now. And we're not going to talk about this for an hour and a half like I did on that podcast. But if you want to go dig deeper, you can go just look for that on YouTube. It's also on X. I retweeted it yesterday on X.
Here it is on X.
Yeah, it was really an enjoyable podcast. But man, was I a marathon talker on that. I felt like every question he asked, I spent like 15 minutes just going without breathing. Answering it. But I read through a few hundred comments last night, and people really seemed to enjoy it. I think there was a lot of value there. So when people ask me what should I be doing in the humanoid sector, I'd be like, educating yourself, you need to watch this stuff. You need to start watching some of these humanoid podcasters because they are bringing you the latest and greatest almost on a daily basis now. So
Yeah.
you should be spending at least 30 minutes to an hour a week kind of educating
And we should
yourself.
probably jump back into being a little more frequent with our podcast because things change so much so quickly. And I feel like this channel should be your go-to source for everything robotics and
Yes.
AI.
At least from through an investor's lens, right?
Yes.
And how you can make money off of it. Now, getting back to Tesla, though, beyond humanoids, what do we think about Elon, his role in the administration, and the degree to which it could actually materially benefit Tesla? There are people out there saying that he could have influence over expediting regulatory approval.
Well, yeah, that's the only
of the
reason that I bought Tesla calls last week, and I sold them yesterday, so I don't have any.
Oh,
Tesla
look at
calls
you,
right now.
Jordan. Look, you didn't tell us that.
But just the perception that he potentially can influence the regulations of self-driving vehicles. So for me, it makes perfect sense that Tesla would fly that high a few days after the election because he is so in bed with the federal government now that, can he influence, or is there an influence, even if it's not direct, of him being able to push through a self-driving initiative nationwide?
Okay, but Jordan,
whether or not he actually has any material impact on regulatory approvals, the fact that everyone thinks he might is why I think that you are good with your move on Tesla calls.
It's the appearance that that's possible. Is that true or not? I have no idea. But I'll tell you what, it is more likely than it would have been the other way around. So.
Okay, but again, we've discussed this. Often, the early trade is more about people's perception of what matters as opposed to what actually matters. Because when you dive a little deeper, you realize that most of the regulatory issues surrounding autonomous vehicles is at the state and city and county level, not necessarily at the federal level. Correct? I think I'm correct.
Yeah, unless there was some sort of federal regulations,
federal interstate highways or something, you could just say that it's allowed.
And I'm not saying that will or won't happen because of this. I actually don't think anything will happen. But the perception was there.
I had an interesting conversation a few nights ago with one of the early major investors in Waymo, who seems convinced and tried to convince me, and I was neutral because my Tesla thesis is about robots, not about cars. All right, so I don't really care that much one way or the other. But he tried to convince me that Waymo right now, and I know this is going to piss a lot of people off. I'm not saying this, guys. He said that Waymo has a meaningful and significant advantage right now over Tesla's autonomous car division, and he believes that Waymo is actually going to be the real winner. This is a venture investor who is aggressively invested in Waymo early on, gets lots of.
Well, I mean, he's got a bias, though, right? What I do
has
like
a
about
bias.
Waymo is that they use LiDAR in addition to video.
Okay, but he has a lot. He has a lot of insight into what's happening at the company, like recently and right now. He spent some time talking about their cost metrics are coming way down. So their cost on a lot of that stuff that was an issue a couple of years ago is coming way down. They're obviously reducing the number of LiDAR and cameras that are required on these cars. Listen, and
I don't know. I did ride in an FSD, the latest version this weekend, and it was insane. You plug in the destination on the map, and it did everything for you. As long as what's that?
That's what Patrick tells me all the time. He's like, he told me like very recently.
Well, but so the guy that I rode with, has been, just watching it the entire time, and just this latest iteration. I mean, it was flawless. I I was really shocked.
Listen,
Especially
again,
like merging and going across traffic and all of these different things. I thought it did a really good job. Now, again, that's a one-off in of one situation, but it was,
But once you experience it, it kind of changes your opinion
Yeah.
on how good it actually is. And if you watch a bunch of these YouTubers and finance X, can we is it FinTwit or can we just call it FinX? A bunch of these FinX people who post
FinX is the
4K resolution videos of them doing, drives to the airport and drives all around town.
I hate FinTwit. FinX is 100x better. Let's never use FinTwit again. I
FinX
can't
it is.
stand that. But also FinTwit makes me think of what it was back 3 years ago, which annoyed the hell out of me. With all the is just nothing but meme. I love the meme stuff, but like nothing but like the crappy trading.
We stopped calling it FinTwit in favor of financial Twitter, but I think FinX is actually a good.
I like it.
A good brand. We should trademark that.
So here's all right. Here's the thing, though. There is risk involved with Elon and Trump, and I think a lot of people recently, I started reading in the last day or so, are anticipating when that relationship goes sour. The relationship just got started.
I've been saying that all along. At some point, they both have such big egos. At some point, they're going to have a falling out.
You can't have two kings, right? You can't have two kings. And do we believe that this relationship has legs, or is it destined to blow up? And if and when it blows up, could that be perceptionally catastrophic for Tesla? It's certainly a risk factor.
It is a risk factor.
You have to acknowledge.
I mean, you've got to look back in history. And does Donald Trump have any relationships for over, a certain amount of time that are stable? I doubt it.
No, but also, Jordan, let's think about the nature of this relationship. Elon simply has things that he wants out of Trump. Trump has things he wants out of Elon.
Well, I think Trump's gotten what he wants out of Elon.
Okay,
he got campaign funding, he got publicity, he got endorsement.
I don't know that that's necessarily true, and let me explain. I think what Trump wants, as much as being elected, is to have a voice and to be liked and respected. And the fact that Elon owns the primary media outlet and control, I should say not own, he does own, but he controls the primary media outlet that has potential to allow that to happen for Trump, to have Trump be heard in a positive way, to have Trump be liked and respected through Elon's voice. I think that might actually be more powerful than Elon even getting him elected. So I think Elon does have the ability to hold that over Trump's head. It's like unspoken leverage that I think Trump respects deeply. And I do see this relationship as a result of that having legs that would last, maybe not forever, Jordan, but I can see this relationship lasting years, not months. And if that's true, wow, that has to be a massive positive for Tesla, right? It has to.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think Elon's going to want out of this? Like, let's talk about the wants on Elon's side. What do you think the asks are going to be that would actually be a positive for Tesla?
The biggest thing is regulatory. You know what it is? They're and regulatory on two ways. One, some sort of nod to the self-driving car thing that I talked about earlier. Maybe there's something there. I think the bigger one is that if he were to cut, if Trump were to be able to figure out how to cut some of the emissions standards that are coming up for all car manufacturers. So basically the way that it works is that, car manufacturers have certain target fleet goals for their fuel efficiency standards. And those were set by the federal government. And the government doesn't really care how you get there, but it's like, okay, well, your fleet's going to be 15 MPGs, let's say. It's not, but let's just say it is. Well, like GM and Ford can keep pumping out their SUVs as long as on the other side, they're making electric vehicles to satisfy their overall fleet requirements. If those requirements go away, I think the incentive for traditional car manufacturers to produce EVs drops a ton, right? And so then Tesla has a lot less competition.
That's actually a great perspective on this. I buy that. I buy that 100%, Jordan. That's such an obvious move for Trump. It's such an it's like everybody
And it
wins.
sells
Like
like it sells
everyone
that
wins.
Republican less. We want less regulation. This whole, I think, it fits the brand. Also, I think the story there makes sense.
But Jordan, in that case, everyone wins. Elon wins, and the auto manufacturers at least they believe they're winning as well.
They believe they're
right?
winning, right? And if they win or not is, I can't make a judgment call on that. But they can make what they think that they want to make instead of being forced to
But
make.
they want it. They want it because the EV sales have been horrific for
Correct.
those companies the
They're
last
great
12
for
months.
Tesla, but everybody else makes marginal SUVs or really weird SUVs. Like the GM makes the Hummer that's like 130 grand and weighs like 7,000, something crazy.
Wait, doesn't Getty have one though? Did he like it?
I hope he's watching, but yes, he did. But they had great lease deals on them because nobody is buying them.
All right, Getty. Before the SMU game this Saturday, I want to ride in that. I got to ride in that Hummer, man. I know Getty will be at SMU on Saturday. We're not missing that Boston College game, so I want to ride in it. That's a great perspective. Now, how about the credits, the EV credits? Now, obviously, people see that as a positive and a negative for Tesla, like an obvious negative because they just make less money per car, but a positive because it again pushes other automotive manufacturers away from EV and like allows Elon to just own the space entirely. Right. So again, what I care about here is less what actually is good and bad for Tesla and more about how people perceive this to be good or bad. Because in the short run, that's all that actually matters. I'm not concerned a year from now, a year and a half from now, how it actually plays out. I just want to understand how the market thinks it will play out. So as these things start to happen under the Trump administration, we can start to trade them. Now, I
think that's something to watch out for, though, is just that some sort of pressure on these fleet EPA requirements for traditional auto manufacturers.
So as traders, something that we all need to be prepared for, and this is every election cycle, are the information dissemination events coming out of the administration, and it's already started. You want to start to pay attention to all of the appointments. Who are the people that are getting appointed and what are their views? What are their top 1 or 2 positions that each of these individuals has been rallying around? So what I've been doing over the past day is every time I hear about a Trump appointment, I immediately Google that individual. I see what is the thing that individual has been talking about the past year. What is the most important thing for each of these people? And assuming that thing will now happen, how will that positively or impact various sectors and stocks, right? That's what every trader should be doing right now. Additionally, as we start to get closer to these key kind of speeches, right? These key announcements of what will be the emphasis of this administration, who is on the transition team? What are these people on the transition team saying? What is the buzz? What have they said in the past? The transition team has an enormous amount of power, right? And you have to listen. We're social arb traders, right? Like we trade change. The primary way that we surface change is through the analysis of conversational data, right? What people say. Like what we analyze, when we analyze tweets, we analyze comments on TikTok. But some of the most important conversational data right now is there are dozens of people that are in power positions of this new administration. You should be listening to every word that comes out of their mouth. If you are on the transition team, if you are being appointed to an important position in the Trump administration, that is a person that we should all be following on X. That is a person that we should be following every single word that comes out of their mouth for the next 60 to 90 days, because you never, anything that they say could be a trade, right? Like, so that's what we need to be paying attention to. And I would love to do, guys, a couple episodes over the next couple months where we just break down each of these individuals. What is their area of focus? How could it impact various sectors, various equities? There's alpha out there to get, massive alpha.
Start collecting this in a spreadsheet that we can share. I mean, that's I think a lot of great information that if we could get it all in one place, so that when someone is elected or nominated or being appointed, we know what the trades are.
Yeah, I mean that's my area of focus the next few months, but between now and the actual transition itself, and then of course you have speeches that follow that. After that, the opportunities start to fizzle out, right? And so, like, this is where all the alpha exists. This is when you have to put your trades on. It's this like magical time when a president gets elected before the president takes office, and things start actually moving way slower than everybody wanted them to move. Because right now, people are going to trade ideas. People are going to trade what they think might happen. As we know, often very few things actually happen in administration. So this is when you make the money. That said, I do have some sources that are fairly close to this administration. And the one thing I'll reveal is that I have heard that they plan to get things done. Like, whatever that means. Okay. I'm just telling you, I have heard from my sources that the people that are circling around this administration are not, take this for however you want to take it. I've heard that they are not messing around, that they didn't quite know how to make things happen the last time, and that this time they are going this full force.
Well,
Like, they are going to make things happen. At least that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
and you have to, you take that with a little bit of skepticism, because every new administration says we're going to make things happen. This time around, though, with control of the Senate, potentially the House, there is perhaps a greater chance of things happening, which as investors, we like it when nothing happens, right? But the thought of something happening, the thought of things being pushed through, might give us some volatility that we can play with.
You just have to stay on top of it. That's all. Okay, so again, to wrap things up here, Tesla trade. It's coming. It's coming in a matter of months. We now know how it's going to be structured and what we're looking for. We're looking for the announcement of either a live event or the publishing of video footage at one of the three large humanoid companies, whether it's Tesla, Figure AI, or Apptronic, that will be the equivalent of a ChatGPT moment for embodied AI and humanoids. I feel that moment's coming in a matter of months. And when that moment happens, I think Wall Street and capital markets are going to pull forward revenue unlike we've ever seen in our lifetime, because we're talking about an industry sector that has potential total addressable market of 50% of global GDP. We've never seen anything like that. People still don't believe it yet, but they will. I have seen with my eyes robots doing magical things in the past few weeks, and people have told me they have seen those same things happening on the production line at Tesla. So, assuming that that's all true, we are close, guys. We are close to one of the biggest opportunities, I think, in the history of public equity markets. And there's only one company that is publicly traded that has a humanoid robot, and it's Tesla.
Yep.
So we're not financial advisors. We're just telling you how we're thinking about this, the trade that we're preparing to put on. In the interim, I will continue to be long Tesla and buy call options just as insurance in case something else happens at Tesla to move that stock up.
Yeah.
I don't want to completely miss out on it, but I can't put my big trade on just erroneously. Like, just because it could be 3 months, it could be 4 months, and the market could take a swing. And with a out of the money options trade, you could lose it all. So I'm not willing to put that at risk until I have some, you know, better insight into timing. And it has to be an event or video footage, preferably a live event that is scheduled. If Tesla schedules a live event related to its Optimus robot,
You'll
game
have some
on.
calls on the other side of that
Game
date.
on. Yes.
And
So that's it.
Tesla taking a hit today, down 6% right now. That's
I like it.
potentially, even though you have all these call options, you might be getting a buying opportunity.
I like it. I want Tesla to go down. I'm losing money on my Tesla position, but I want to lose a lot of money on my Tesla position right now. I want Tesla to go down. I want to lose money on my Tesla position because I will put on a larger Tesla position at a lower price when the real news hits. Because all this autonomous driving stuff, man, I know you Tesla fanboys are excited about it, but let me tell you something. Autonomous cars are nothing compared to what's coming. Nothing. It is not even 5% of the market of humanoid robots, of displacing all the world's physical labor over the next 20 to 25 years. And I want to repeat this because that sounds kind of cold. Like, to get excited about displacing human labor sounds really cold. But I want to remind everyone that not one time in the history of Earth have we had a new technology that has displaced human labor that hasn't resulted in a larger demand for human labor in new industry sectors that are born out of that technology. So I firmly believe that while there will be a little bit of pain that we're going to have to deal with as a civilization when we just start to displace human labor, that we will be in a much better place. There will be more jobs, not less jobs, more jobs for humans as a result of this, more industry, more innovation. And by the way, I don't think anyone's looking to displace human labor for like 5 to 10 years because we have like a 50 to 350 100 million human labor shortage in the world for physical labor. We need more physical labor. So the majority of these bots the next decade are going to be working with humans, not displacing humans, right? So, like, again, people are just confused by that. This is not a negative. It's only a positive for humans. So be excited. I'm excited, guys. I cannot wait to see how this unfolds over the next 12 months. We're getting really close. And as investors, I don't think I will ever see another investment. I mean, maybe I will, but I can't even think of another generational type of opportunity for investors. We always say with change comes opportunity. The bigger the change, the bigger the opportunity, the faster the change, the bigger the opportunity. I think
And it doesn't get any bigger than humanoid taking over the world. And it doesn't happen any faster than a company like Tesla with its manufacturing capabilities to start rolling these things out. And a billion in 20 years, 10 billion of these humanoids in 50 years. Like,
my projections show that just 1.5 million bots in production being leased would result in a $10 trillion valuation for Optimus. As insane as that sounds, I have that by the end of 2030. We'll see.
We'll see. All right. If you guys have stuck around to the end, and it looks like we have almost 6,000 people watching right now across both X and YouTube. Everybody find a like button and just destroy that like button, because this is how people find our channel. We know that, a lot of you are new, maybe because you hear us talking about Tesla and you like Tesla. We talk about stocks, we talk about trading, we talk about ideas, and we do it as frequently as we can. We don't have anything to sell. We have a Discord that's absolutely free. If you go to dumbmoney.tv/Discord, you can get an invite to join us there. And we do this as frequently as we can as live streams, and we appreciate you all for being here. We want to congratulate all of our new millionaires out there who who really hit it big over the last week.
Dave, I do think it's time to have a dedicated Bitcoin episode. There is at least one big thesis that I think is underappreciated right now, possibly two. I want to discuss them. If we can do it this week, let's do it. This is the time. People are thinking about Bitcoin, but I think they're not fully understanding the real thesis, the real difference maker. So if we can pull that together later this week, guys, we will do a Bitcoin episode.
We'll aim for doing it on Thursday. If for some reason we can't, you should probably just be subscribed to this channel anyway, just so that you never miss anything, because we're very erratic with our schedule. We're full-time investors. We're retired. We just do this when we feel like it. And really, when there's something to talk about, we don't put a show on just because we're trying to fill time. We actually need something that we think is useful to you guys.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you hopefully Thursday.